recording.
Roll call. Paul Jordan.
Here.
Glickman.
Here.
Lana Rose absent. Rolfe.
Here.
Shear is absent. Sturbins.
Here.
Warshaw.
Here.
Thank you.
It doesn't look like public comment is on here.
So
Like
it'll be
normal.
buried after the hearing, so let's start here.
Oh, so actually this part,
Yep,
okay.
yep, yep.
Forgive me, y'all, sorry. Our first agenda item this evening is the public hearing on working cash fund bonds. I hereby open the public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Education to sell not to exceed 13 million working cash fund bonds for the purpose of increasing the district's working fund. With us this evening to share an overview of the issuance of bonds process is Elizabeth Hennessy, Managing Director of Raymond James Public Finance. Following Ms. Hennessy's presentation, we will have an opportunity for board members to ask questions and for members of the public to address the board regarding the topic, the presentations, and the board inquiries, if any. All right, Ms. Hennessy, it's all you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm just going to give a quick overview of a process that I think you started talking about last May. The original capital projects plan contemplated $37.363 million of projects, including Devonshire Early Childhood Center, Highland, and other capital improvements. And those projects were funded with $6.1 million of working cash bonds issued in 2025, and the balance with fund balance. So as the district reviews its financial projections, funds used for prior capital improvement projects and future facility needs across a building, the consideration is less fund balance and maybe more debt finance is a prudent approach. So the following options include financing for 13 million working cash fund bonds to pay for the remaining capital projects and some of the future capital projects identified. And here's some of those, of course, the early childhood remaining cost, 10 million, security and office improvements, 1.6, Devonshire turnabout, 1.5 million. So here's the currently outstanding debt service, and the district under the property tax limitation law can issue bonds as long as it doesn't exceed the debt service extension base. So the fourth column from the left is the debt service extension base in 26 is $3,461,553. The debt service outstanding for the 26 levy years 2.7 million, leaving a balance of 766,000 available, which is shown in the green box, and then that pops up in 2029 to 3.4 million. So the district has traditionally used this debt service extension base to pay back non-referendum bonds, always very quickly, so future boards have the ability to issue more debt if needed. Here's a graphic. The red line is the maximum debt service extension base, and the blue bars represent some of the outstanding debt payments. Here's the proposed 13 million limited tax working cash bonds. So these bonds are paid off in 8 years, and they use the debt service extension base to the maximum through levy year 29, and then there's room for future boards to issue debt again in the year 2030, as shown in the green highlighted box. Issuing these bonds does increase the tax rate slightly by 5 cents, estimated to be about $51 on a $400,000 market value home. Here's a graphic which I think shows clearly the line is that debt service extension base. The green bars represent the debt payments on the 13 million, and as you can see in the year 2030, there's room under the debt base for additional debt if needed. So this is the timeline that's been updated for where we are today. As I mentioned, this process discussion started in May. On June 18th, the district approved a reimbursement resolution to allow you to reimburse the district for some of the expenditures that have continued through the summer. we published the notice of intent in the local newspaper calling the public hearing and beginning the 30-day petition period on June 25th. On July 30th, we posted the notice of public hearing in the local newspaper for the public hearing. And here we are tonight, holding the public hearing for any comments by board, or the public. And so my job tonight is just to share the purpose of the bonds. And then going forward, the board will consider a resolution, parameters bond resolution authorizing the sale of the bonds on September 17th. Our sale date is estimated to be the week of the 21st of September, closing October 6th, and then on October 15th. These are working cash bonds, so the bond proceeds are then transferred into the capital projects fund and reimbursing other summer expenditures. Questions?
So I know we've talked about it a few times. I just think it's always so helpful that you come in, make sure we're clear. Kenya does a great job keeping us updated on it as well. But I figured we'd take advantage of you while we had you. So yeah. Any questions at all? All right.
Nope, thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I guess, do I have to open the meeting? For
Yes, I think we need to
Okay.
close that one as well, don't we?
So we now open this hearing to comments regarding the issuance of bonds from members of the public. Kindly note public comment on any other issue besides the adoption of the working cash fund bonds should be held until the appropriate segment of the regular meeting following this hearing. Does anyone wish to comment related to the approval of working cash fund bonds? Okay. If there are no comments, then we will adjourn this public hearing. Someone second. Did you have to say it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're good.
okay.
Do we need to do a roll call or no?
Yeah, I should do a roll call.
Glickman.
Here.
Roth.
Yes.
Sturbins.
Yes.
Warshaw.
Yes.
Bill Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we will now begin the regularly scheduled public participation portion of our meeting. Do we have any requests for public comment?
Oh, so they should have to make a roll call.
Just kidding. Oh, I see, because now we're going into a new
Because we're
meeting.
going into a.
Yep, just
Okay.
disregard.
So Bill Jordan.
Here.
Glickman.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Sturbins.
Here.
Warshaw. Thank you.
Here. Okay, again, if you have a public comment, let us know. Oh, there's none. All right, so we're gonna move on to the superintendent
All right,
reports.
sounds good. So the first thing I have here, if I have this right, is the launch of the strategic plan. So yesterday we sent out a mass communication to families, community members that we have contact information for. Just introducing what we've been talking about for about a year and a half now, if not 2 years. Really exciting. We had our Institute Day yesterday, and we were also able to introduce this as well. If you don't mind just going to the next slide. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. I was going to say, I don't want to make you have to do that for me, everyone. But I'll burn through this. So for the past 2 years, we've been following the last 23-25 plan. Like I mentioned before, there's still some unfinished business on this, particularly around some diversity, equity, inclusion, professional learning, as well as continuing to think through professional learning plans. We have those, but documenting those, bring those to you, things of that nature. But for the most part, a lot of this work predating my arrival here was really accomplished and done well, as evidenced by the opening of the Early Childhood Center tonight. This next piece here is what we're kind of referring to as one vision, one future. This walks through, which you all have heard, the timeline that I won't belabor too much that we've spent. But I think the key emphasis on this piece is that we really got great feedback from the Strategic Planning Committee, brought the draft plan back to the staff. We had 159 staff give us some feedback, and almost 80%, 78% indicated that the plan was either well aligned or strongly aligned to the needs of the district. So a lot of this, we've talked about at length in May, but I just wanted to give you a little bit more of an update on some of the visuals that have come forward over the summer. So here you have all of that information nicely conveyed. You'll see it even on the wall. We've added those now into each school building as well. Where we could add in the foyer, we did. Other areas were more in the main office or just outside of it. But we really want the staff and the community that gave their input on this to see it and to feel it throughout the district. It's a 5-year plan, so drilling into the wall felt a little less scary. And within that are those four pillars of classroom, community, culture, and care. And again, you've heard about those. I won't go through them all in detail. But just at a high level, I do want to emphasize with our classroom pillar, you'll see a real emphasis on what we're calling an equity framework. And this work has already taken off in a sprint. Dr. Sam Majedny and the Educational Services Department worked really hard over the summer to build out what it would look like in a real utopian classroom around access and inclusivity. So there's been some rubric development as well as some learning walk concepts that are being still finalized out, but really good work that will actually get to the classroom just by nature of design, which is oftentimes some of the biggest challenges of the strategic plan is it just gets hung up before making it to the classroom. Other pieces within this are things like guaranteed and viable curriculum for all students, strong classroom practices, professional learning. We've talked about those at length as well. The community pillar really talks about strengthening partnerships among our schools, families, and staff, community organizations, really trying to deepen engagement. You'll see right off the bat is the call for a communication and engagement strategy. So we'll definitely be bringing that back to the board, which you'll hear more about in a minute. On our culture pillar, we're looking at things around belonging, related to diverse perspectives, backgrounds, experiences, trying to create more opportunities as well for staff voice. We've got the values and a really catchy motto now with We Are 6-8. So really trying to make sure that those values show up in things like hiring practices, celebrations, you name it throughout the district. Then the last pillar of care, talking about some things related to physical, mental, and emotional well-being for both students and staff, positive relationships. You'll see some elements around a district wellness policy that we have already, but that we want to unearth a little bit more and bring to the foreground. But this visual is what I've been really focused on, as well as with the team, is trying to figure out as we plan, how can we align this? The fact that we were able to get such good positive feedback on the draft plan, we want to make sure that people see it over the next 5 years and that you as a board can experience it, because this is a big part of the board's work. It's really the direction that you set. It tells us where to go with resources, where to go with our time, etc. So this slide we showed you in May, and we've done a lot of these items since then, which is great. Others are just in progress naturally. So development of annual SMART goals we've completed, which we'll show you, and the incorporation of those into the district scorecard we have completed. We'll show you that in the next slide. We're working through things like school improvement plans, department goals, leadership goals. Those are all just in progress. And then we updated the community yesterday. So moving along, really trying to, deliver on some of these early steps to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable and that all the good work is starting to take shape. So this scorecard concept was something that our strategic plan provider, Studer, really strongly encouraged and did so in a way that was supportive and wasn't as intimidating as I initially anticipated. And the reason for that is a lot of the goals, which you'll see more clearly in a minute, I know that's about a 6-point font for you there, they are foundational. So this year, a lot of things like gathering data in order to build goals for the next 4 years. Others do have more completion-oriented language, but a lot of this year is really just foundational, trying to make sure that we can deliver on 10 areas, which is a lot. But we really want to just kind of get the groundwork established for how to set goals within the priorities. The big piece of this for the board, which we'll talk about in a minute with the board schedule, is just those 4 quarterly updates. So that means that you can expect a full deck and presentation from us 4 times this year. Various team members joining in. We'll be really trying to look at the plan and show where we're at and where we're struggling or where we need more support or more time. and really hopefully have some celebrations throughout that as well. That first area there on the classroom, I mentioned already the equity framework. So building out what that could look like in the schools, whether it be a shift in instructional practice or a celebration of an instructional practice, looking at things related to support and differentiation, and then again, as I mentioned, high quality curriculum access for our students. And the community will be focused heavily on the communication and engagement strategy, so developing plans around that. It's been something we've talked about a lot here as a board, as well as a school administrative team. How can we get more parents involved and see what's working and where we can improve in that area as well. So more to come on that, as well as support for staff. So there's some elements there around professional learning for staff as well. In the culture section, or the pillar, sorry, is again that creating a strong sense of belonging and inclusion, strengthening elements of recruitment, retention, and growth for staff. So even already this year, we've identified some really accessible professional learning for our front office team members, some of which I think could have probably delivered it themselves in terms of the topic, but it was around how to support like a multilingual environment in the school. And it was an hour and a half, it was free, it was a high quality provider. So trying to find some of those things that can not disrupt the day, but also allow every team member to feel like they're growing here, just the fact that we're a learning organization. And then the last pillar, looking at related to care, so well-being for students and staff. There's some elements here around like morale building and celebrations, supporting mental health, ensuring wellness is embedded in areas of the district. So again, going back to that district policy that we have and trying to ensure that we have compliance with that and that our procedures are built out for it. But we also have a perception survey that we initially launched last year and launched it admittedly a little loosely. I think we can get ahead of it this year, and we're going to deliver it at a time when we have an institute to allow the staff to have more time to actually take it, as well as at a time when parents, I believe, are at parent-teacher conferences, so we can promote it. And that perception survey is 18 to 20 questions, and it's something that we can deliver each year that gives us a real baseline. It's kind of like a customer satisfaction survey, if you will. It's translated, I believe we got it into 20 languages last year. So we want to try to pump that up a little bit more this year to have baseline on a few items. And there's actual questions, like we highlighted numbers 18, 19, and 20, that will give us a real pulse on some of the morale pieces and wellness throughout the district, as well as with our families. So more to come on that for sure. I know that was at a pretty high level. We give each one of these to the board members. I know you don't wear lanyards when you come in here. You can if you want. I think they're pretty cool. But we did build out these ID cards. It's just an example, and I wanted to share with you of how we're really trying to promote the strategic plan and allowing for catchy opportunities for staff to feel it, to see it. It's their ideas, and we really want to make sure that it comes through. So more to come on that. We did t-shirts for staff with back to school that had it. Like I said, it's already in the offices, but trying to just have this be a plan that doesn't live on a shelf and is actually felt throughout the day. And ideally, obviously, in the student experiences and outcomes as well. So that was really quick, but I know you've heard a lot about this. I just wanted you to see where we landed from the summer work. Any questions about anything strategic plan related? The next update will be in October. You'll have way more focus and descriptive, like tangibles, outcomes, things related to it. This is just the one more high level. Anything at all? Any questions?
I'm just so excited for you guys.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think it's been really well received. It really fits the district in terms of, you know, we've done a lot with the capital improvements and the facilities, even a lot with the curriculum side of things. So now I think it allows us to go a step deeper as it relates to instruction, community engagement, communication strategies, things like Parent Square are in place. We've gotten feedback around how to potentially communicate a little bit less, communicate a little bit more at certain times a year. So we're really trying to fine tune it now, and a lot of the systems are already built. It's just improving upon them. So it's exciting.
Is there anything that you want us to have our eyes on or thoughts on in the support of this next important step in launching the plan between now and October, or?
I think one of the biggest challenges in school leadership and just, in education in general is there's a lot of what I would, call bait and really easy distractions from the work. And, a school system is really complex, it's multifaceted, and it's not as simple as turning a wheel or a gear and the rest all fit into place. So for us, I just want to say thank you for the level of grace that I feel from the board to get to this point. We've had about 1.5 years of a runway to launch this. It feels very authentic, and I think the staff, the feedback I've gotten in just the last 24 hours from a few staff members who said, I really understand the vision now. This makes sense. I feel like it's not too complicated. There's a lot to it. I mean, it's dense, but it's a 5-year plan. So I think having the board really, make sure that we value the sacred time of those quarterly updates, I think will be a big piece. You'll see in a minute with the board schedule, I tried to make those really like the weight of the meeting, if you will, and tried to maybe move things where we could so that those meetings weren't, in a need to burn through the strategic plan update to get to the other 4 items on the agenda. So I think it's just keeping it a priority is going to be really helpful for us. And then we'll share more, as it relates to, you'll see when you get the updates which one of the team members are really trying to champion each goal. And I think that will be interesting for the board just to get to know the team even more and the work that they're doing. So it won't be, me delivering upon these. It'll be all of us coming together. So I think it's going to be really good for the board. It'll give it a lot more perspective. But I think holding the quarterly updates is a really important meeting will be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Anything else? All right. So schedule board reports. There's a memo in on this. Just a couple of updates. This is something that we've done before. I find it to be very helpful as a superintendent, and hopefully you do as a board. It allows us to sort of canvas the year and see where and how we want to focus. We have new this year, as I mentioned, the 4 quarterly updates. And then we still have a rotation cycle with the highlights of school, strategic plan, and then department. School, strategic plan, department. So really tonight you've got strategic plan, so you'll see then September we're going to hear from our first school, and that'll kind of kick us off. One of the things that I've gotten some feedback about is, it's helpful for us. We added the department updates. That's a new thing in the last 1.5 years. But we also don't want to forget why we're all here, which is really for students. So as an administrative team, we're going to maybe take a little bit of time to see with the school highlights, is there something there that can be really student-centered? And honestly, that might help us, because sometimes as a team, we're kind of like, well, what does the board want to hear about? We got a lot of great stuff we're doing. So we may work and come back to you with something semi-thematic related to students for those highlights. Ironically, the most recent AASA magazine talks all about exercising student voice, and there's tons of ideas on everything from government and guidance to feedback on how things are going. So we're going to kind of work on that and workshop it a little bit as a team and come back. Other than that, we haven't moved too much in terms of routines and structures in the board. We moved a couple of things to be after the financial audit because we thought that would be helpful for you as a board to see how is an outside provider saying we're doing financially, and then allowing us to show you projections and related finance items. But other than that, it's pretty similar to what we've done in the past. But I do want to come back to you on the school highlights to see how can that be student focused. If that makes sense. Anything else? Okay. Freedom of Information Act
Wait,
request.
you
Oh, yeah,
skipped.
sorry, what did I skip? Oh, news and important
Back to
dates.
school.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yeah.
I thought it
Yeah.
made sense that you went to that one,
Yep.
so that's why I was like, that.
sorry, I skipped the news and important dates. Yep, sorry. Dr. Samajani has organized a wonderful deck to capture some of the summer pieces. I was looking at the school leaders who had a long week, and I was trying to get them out of here. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Samajani, if you could help us out. Just
All right,
a lot going on.
a few summer updates from Ed Services. So obviously trying to align everything to our new strategic plan. Fits in, a lot of the things we did this summer fits in many of the pillars and in our core values. So we had a successful summer school. We really kind of ran 4 different programs. Our summer leap into kindergarten, which were our early childhood students coming into kindergarten. That was brand new and adorable. We had 36 of those kiddos come into summer leap kindergarten. We also ran an elementary version of incoming 1st through 5th graders. We had about 140 of those students. Junior high, we had about 40 students, so incoming 6th graders and 7th graders. And then we ran our summer discovery, which is all of our newcomer students that have arrived in the country within the last year. We had about 37 students there. So a total about 253 students were invited. A little bit fewer than that came. We did some surveying of teachers and of parents, which I'll show you in just a moment, the parent survey. This is a quote from a summer school teacher, but I thought was really cute. This was a teacher who chose to teach the full day because we ran a full day program for the first time. Some teachers only taught a half day, but this teacher said that she had a great time and she couldn't believe that she was getting paid for this because it was fun. So that was fun to see. We did survey our parents through Parent Square so that the survey questions could be translatable. We only had about 25 responses come back, and so we're trying to think about how we can increase that and make it something that we're able to get more voice from parents. However, of the 25 who responded, it was positive in terms of the program working for them, their satisfaction, if their child benefited academically, if their child enjoyed attending summer school. School communication was another question, and then we also asked about the full day schedule again, because that being new, we weren't exactly sure how that would benefit families, but those who responded agreed that it did. So we'll continue refining that process for next year. We'll do a debrief of summer school and think about what it looks like for next year, and then think about how to increase that family participation and feedback. These are just some pictures of some of the cuties in summer school, a little mix of everything here. You can see we had a assembly with some fun little animals. So we've got a little turtle there, tortoise, turtle, whatever. Yeah.
It's huge.
I know, he's very large. We had a lot of enrichment, things like Lego stems, so you can see some pictures there. We ran a cardboard challenge where students just created all kinds of different inventions using cardboard, some movement activities, a lot of fun. So those pictures kind of captured the gamut there of all the fun things that the kids participated in. We also kicked off our new educator orientation August 12th through the 14th. We have 21 new educators. You can see the breakdown of kind of how they all fell into different roles. Here is a picture of the group at our new Early Childhood Center playground. Super cute. So that was fun. One of the themes that we spent a good deal of time talking about was belonging, and having them think about, as they're walking into a new space, how can they, how do they want to feel walking into that space? Read a picture book, which was all about belonging. I gave them a copy of the picture book and invited them to think about that, using that with their own students. But to think about how many of our families and students come to us
speaking a different language, from a different culture. And so how does that feel walking into a brand new space? And we capitalized on them coming into this space as a brand new person to think about that as well and make those connections. So these pictures are just some brainstorming that we did about how every educator belongs when these kinds of things happen, how every student belongs when their name is said correctly, as an example. And so just wanted to show you a picture of that because it was a theme of our conversation with all of those new folks. District Institute Day was just yesterday. We had a lovely breakfast that was hosted by Organic Life, our food provider, which was lovely. Dr. Brens delivered a nice welcome message and explained the strategic plan in a very succinct way. We also had a keynote speaker, Maui Osgadam, who was phenomenal. And then that followed up with professional learning. We ran a number of Choose Your Adventure sessions for all of our licensed staff, all related to different initiatives and things that we're trying to accomplish instructionally. We also ran 2 wellness sessions, some meditation and some yoga for teachers. And then all of our teaching assistants had a full afternoon session that was specifically designed for them with a presenter from North Cook. So how do the supporters support children? So we're trying to make sure that we are delivering on that professional development for all. So that's just a sample of what yesterday looked like. Here's a couple of fun pictures. Of course, our balloon arch with the big 68. You saw that at Early Childhood if you were able to be there. Maui is pictured there in the upper right, and then a picture of some of our teachers. And then last but not least, some back to school dates for families. So obviously we have Monday coming up as the first day of school for kindergarten through 8th grade. And then Tuesday will be the first day for our early childhood kiddos. September 7th is no school for Labor Day. September 20th, which is a Sunday, there is a fall resource fair at Terminal Park for our families to participate in. September 21st is also a non-school day. And then September 30th is, we're kind of plugging this as a hold the date for the first of a tech series of Parent University sessions that will be held at Old Orchard and will be open to all families to participate in. That's all I have. Any questions?
I just want to highlight the team did an awesome job. We had all those Choose Your Learning Adventure sessions are all in-house. So those are all staff members leading staff members. So there's a lot of leadership, collective efficacy, and you'd be surprised to stand in front of a group every day delivering lessons, but when it's your peers, it suddenly becomes a whole different game. And the staff did an excellent job. It was really, really well done. Feedback has been super positive. The team, Zoraida, Karen Reardon, everybody did an awesome job. Christy just decorating, getting the space ready. I joked with the staff that it's kind of like planning a wedding, but it is. It's actually typically the same number. We had even DJ-related music going on. So
DJ Grin.
I felt like it was kind of upbeat. So I did my best and mixed it up best I could. I put myself in other people's shoes for 4 minutes and a half. But it really was a success. We got a lot of great feedback. So Maui Asgadam is a really amazing person. He had this incredible journey whereby he was born in Ethiopia, was a refugee living in a refugee camp in Sudan, and moved to America at the age of 4 or 5 at that age. And what was interesting to me is he pointed out that he was humble about it, but he only had 12 years to go from being 4 or 5 years old to 16 or 17, at which point he then succeeded in high school and ended up finding his way at Harvard and became the commencement speaker at his graduation, and now is just a really inspirational, successful father and parent. He talked a lot about just his family and how he's trying to, deliver on things that, he didn't always have. But I thought it was really powerful in that we have over 100 refugee students that we service every day. And we talked a little bit about, just the parallels that exist between our new mission statement and Maui's life, and how wonderful of an opportunity for us to, make that same experience for all of our students. So again, really good positive feedback. Staff left feeling, I think, pretty uplifted. It was deep. There was a lot for us to take away from it. I think everyone got a little something different from it, but very exciting and a different approach for us. Just a couple other little pieces along the way. Websites continuously being updated, so things like year-to guidance calendar are available. The principals have done a great job communicating out to their families already. I'll send another reminder message tomorrow. New student handbook is updated. It's a much more readable and easy to search format for that. We've always had a section on communicating concerns, but we added an organizational chart to that with 3 focus areas for every administrator, just to help, actually every staff member in the ESC, just to help parents and even staff know who may be supportive if they can't get what they need from the school. And then the only other thing I want to mention that I'll share with parents as well is the Park District After School Clubs. So we've done a great job as a district, and we're very grateful for the opportunity to cover those costs. We're going to continue to do it, but enrollment has been declining. So I want to try to advertise that to our families. Because of that low participation, we are not going to offer a fall session. We are going to offer a winter session. And the sign up for that is already October 5th. So one of the thoughts we had was that because of the busyness of back to school, you still have students in sports programs, extracurricular activities. Maybe they're not signing up because of that time of year, but whereas the winter, we get more indoors and we want to have our students have more activities. So we'll reevaluate. I can bring updates to the board on how the winter sessions go. It'll be Lego, STEM, and chess. Art, Lego, STEM is one, and then chess. Those are the top 3 in which we've seen strong enrollment. So we want to keep that going, but we want to make sure parents know about it. So I'm even going to send out the link for where they can sign up and the dates so they can mark their calendars, and then we'll remind them of that closer to October as well. Other than that, super excited for the first day of school next week. I mean, the buildings look great. Teams are doing a great job. I'm going to try to get our school leaders out of here if we're all okay with that, so that they can rest up. They've been running on fumes and doing a great job. No one even knows it. So feel free to take off. Thank you all for everything you do. And we'll move on with the rest of the agenda.
Have a good night.
Now you have to read how many.
Which are the FOIAs. So I want to make you aware of something with the FOIAs.
Do you
So
have to name every single
no,
one?
we're gonna potentially take a sidestep on this. If everyone's okay with it. So we have 25 FOIAs since the last meeting. I'm going to read through those that we've been able to provide a response to, and then I'm going to give a little bit of context to the others. So on May 29th, we received a commercial request from Brian Baker from Data Branch. Response was sent. It was looking for purchase orders. So these are all commercial in nature. June 4th, the district received a request from Nicholas Brown regarding products related to some of our websites, our platforms, Aptigee, Final Site, etc. A response was sent on July 13th. We also received a request from Daniel Kramer from Upgrade Research requesting electrical copies of existing records in the district related to utility statements, facility condition assessments. A response was sent. We received a commercial request on June 11th from Angela LeClaire from Public Employee Resource Group requesting a current and complete listing of all employees. Response was sent. The remainder of these, with the exception of 1 or 2, are all received from an organization called Data Branch. If you'll remember, in the last year, there's been some laws passed regarding the opportunity for school districts and public agencies to request proof of, proof of person, if you will. So we've utilized that, and we have not heard back yet. They do have, I believe, 30 days to respond. So we've built out a tracking device to just help us make sure that we're staying on top of the FOIAs. But that is when you see the remainder of those from Data Branch is what those are. But I do want to highlight a few that are not. June 26th, we received a commercial request from Sherry Reed from Smart Procure requesting any and all purchasing records from March 31st to the current. And then
Under the new rule that you can ask, does that mean Sherry Reed is a real person?
We can ask if Sherry is not,
Okay.
based on the requested information, we believe that is a real person.
Okay.
I can vouch that Sherry Reed exists.
There
Oh,
you go.
you can?
There you have it.
I can tell you later.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. I'm not gonna ask
I'm
you.
so worried.
There you have it. So yeah, so we do have an opportunity if we wanted to, but it does seem like those requests are not as formulaic, if you will. July 6th, the district received a commercial request from Hope Perry from Evanston Roundtable requesting copies of the current fully executed contract between Skokie 68 and Right at School for the provision of before and after school childcare. Response was sent. July 7th, the district received a commercial request from Isabella Foster from Data Branch. Sorry, that was another Data Branch. I believe they're all Data Branch except for number 19. We received a commercial request from Samuel Crombie from Blue Door requesting any current district maintained club activity sponsor, stipend, student activity account roster, or district operated schools and central admin, including where the clubs are at, etc. The response is pending, just given the date. And we also received a commercial request from Amber Petrates from Sport Procure on August 5th, requesting electrical copies of current and active contracts between the district and US Signal. The response is pending, and I believe the rest are Data Branch. Okay, so I think it's good. We'll keep the practice going here, and we'll just organize them accordingly so that you know the state, because we may need to provide a response on this should we hear back from the FOIA request. All right, I think that is all for me.
All right, the next item of business are the board updates. Our updates will be organized in two categories, liaisons and committees. We may not always have an update based on the timing of meetings and events, but we will continue to revisit these items at our board meetings. First up would be Ed Red. Roth, do you have anything?
No, I do not. It's summer and we were having summer.
Okay, great.
Update given.
IASB, no, but we do have a thing, just to make sure everyone sees in the superintendent highlights about, if you can go to the conference in November. Voting is again on Shabbat, so Scott said there might be a mail-in ballot.
We've asked for them to create and develop an alternative voting platform. They mentioned last year that they are pursuing that, so my hope is that we will learn more. I'll send an inquiry to see if that ever came about.
Awesome. NTDSE, I know Sheer didn't go, did you go?
I wasn't able to come.
Okay. Collective bargaining, you all were here at the last meeting that we all passed the agreement, so that's moving forward. Collaborative for curriculum, Shira, do you have any updates?
The organization did not meet. I think it's next month, isn't
Yeah, I
it?
believe so.
Yes.
You were
So
summarizing again?
stay tuned.
Okay. Strategic plan, I think we know. The only other update I wanted to give, if anybody else has anything, is on August 6th, Scott and I went to a Village of Skokie meeting where the mayor arranged to have village administrators, the supers from all districts, and any board presidents come to talk about sharing data. This spurred from the violence that was happening in our parks. But I think has moved into a larger conversation around just like how do we as a community communicate with one another about what's going on in our individual districts so that there's a more holistic approach through through the parks, through the police, through the village, all of those things working together so that everybody's on the same page and supporting kids.
Yeah, the thing I'll add is that one of the outcomes may be additional attendance by some of the different village officials at a meeting that already exists with several of us from organizations like Oakton, the library, the village. So potentially building in a space for the police to also attend that meeting, just to make sure that the community stays connected and is able to help one another out with anything that needs support or proactive attention. So it was a helpful conversation, and it sounds like that might be the space for this to go next.
That's like a 3 years in the making thing, so we're there.
Yeah.
All right. The next item of business is approval of minutes. May I have a motion?
I move that the board approve the minutes from June 24th, Board of Education regular meeting and the Board of Education closed session meeting, July 20th Board of Education special meeting.
Second.
Jordan,
Yes.
Blickman,
Yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Sturbins,
Yes.
Forshaw.
Yes. The consent agenda is our next item of business. The consent agenda includes the personnel report as posted with the agenda for this meeting, including employee recommendations, change of status, new hires, resignations, and retirements. Financial reports, which include fund balances for June and July 26, and the statement of position report. Pay orders and expenditures, which includes accounts payable, statement of cash flow, the P card monthly report, also the payroll report, and lastly, the policy second readings. Does any board member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? If not, may I have a motion and a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as presented by the board president.
Second.
Blickman,
Yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Sturbins,
Yes.
Forshaw,
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes.
All right, the next item of business is informational reports and discussion items. Superintendent Grenz will provide us an introduction and next steps. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
It cracks me up every time.
I send you an AI FOIA request there to make sure you're real. So thanks so much, Ernie, for sticking it out. Ernie Nelson is the Director of Operations, along with Kenya Austin, as you all know, our Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations, CSBO. They are there standing side by side, partners in crime. Just to help us out, there's been a ton of capital improvement work over the last several years, but especially this summer. So Ernie and Kenny have just organized it succinctly. They're going to talk through most of the summer work, and then I'm going to give just a quick visual of two of the items you heard Elizabeth mention: the Devonshire loading zone possible future project, as well as this building, the ESC security upgrade. Again, just as visuals, very high level, but I want to just give you an understanding of where that work could go and what it might look like. I'll stop talking.
Perfecto. Do you have the clicker?
Oh yeah, do you want it? Yeah. Here.
So, the district, obviously, with this list in front of us, the district has done an amazing job over the, especially the last 5 years, at renovating each of our buildings. So over the course of the last 5 years, we've renovated all of our interior spaces. The only roof exterior, being an exterior, would be Old Orchard Junior High. It has been well maintained, and it's probably, you'll hear more about that in our 5-year facility plan, which is scheduled for later on in the year, and the other two items that Dr. Grenz has discussed. But the district, and this is just a list of some of the things that we have done. You know, this isn't inclusive to the projects you see in this room. There was painting done in here. These are things that the smaller projects that our staff and our maintenance team has done internally. This is a list of more of the bigger, higher end capital projects. The biggest project obviously being the ECC addition over the course of the last 5 years. This is a picture of the geothermal system. All of you are aware, we have geothermal at our Devonshire Elementary School location, Highland Elementary School, and now our Early Childhood Center, which takes basically ground temperature, stores the heat in the summer so that we can provide heat, stores the heat in the summer months, and then so that during the winter months we can use it inside of our facilities. So, and it's the ground temperature where we drilled approximately 300 to 500 feet in the ground, maintains a steady temperature between 52 and 55 degrees. So that 3 degrees of difference makes a huge difference where you're heating or cooling a facility. We have a lot of heat pumps in our buildings, so if we're providing 55-degree air into the space, that heat coil electric turns on and it heats up that space to 75, 80, 90 degrees if need be. So that is, this system is designed, it has a 50-year life expectancy, and it is designed to use a lot less utilities. So we should see a significant savings in especially our gas usage for those facilities. We groundbreaking, so the left hand side, I'm gonna just show pictures. I'm a big picture person. My teachers loved me. I always picked the books with the most amount of pictures. But so the one on the left is the excavating of the site. That's our front parking lot right now. But if you guys remember, there's a storm structure underneath our front parking lot. So we don't have the ground to have a retention pond area. So it is under our parking lot. That's where we're storing all of our storm water. And then the one on the right, the Early Childhood Center students and staff were included, and their handprints are still on the support beams, because ultimately it is the students that we're all here for. So that illustrates that.
Some of those better be adult handprints. I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, we've got some real, two of those particularly.
I
Was that
can
those
see
are
my
yours,
difference.
Ernie?
I did not, my handprint is not on there. I know better than to give anybody my
Well
fingerprint.
done.
See why we get together so good?
Yeah.
No. So this just is some of the newer equipment here. So fire sprinkler system, entire new fire sprinkler system, and new concrete being poured. We had it, butted up. It's a facility that is right next to an existing facility, so there had to be some structural work done, especially where the building's butted up. But this is kind of a picture of that work being done. We had on the upper left-hand corner is a new electrical supply for the Early Childhood Center. You guys, the board didn't, the board didn't know, maybe they knew, but they didn't know all the headaches associated with working with Commonwealth Edison. But during the process, Commonwealth Edison, you have to shut down all the power. We had to continue to provide power, so we have to get generators in. And then you're at the mercy of Commonwealth Edison. This summer we had exceptionally a lot of storms. So Commonwealth Edison kept delaying our turn back on date, so which significantly delayed some of our project progression. But ultimately, at the end of the day, all of you saw a finished product. There are some ends that need to be tied, but other than that, everything is on schedule. So and then it shows the parking lot. We've completely milled and overlaid all of the blacktop on this campus, including the transportation lot. This is just some of the new flowers and new sod being installed at the Early Childhood Center. And then just some of the structures, if you haven't had an opportunity to go over there, I'd love to take you on a tour. New restrooms, new tree canopies. It is a beautiful facility. Nurses, health clerks, new health clerk's office, and the new conference room. Oh, sorry, I'm already on the next picture. I'm flipping through quick. I'm at the health clerk. Oh.
You have to go back,
Oh.
I think. Go back.
Oh, she was ahead of me. The health clerk and the new conference room in the front office area. The picture to the left is the STEM lab, which is a collaborative space for all of the teachers to use. And then a classroom is on the right-hand side. The front hall, the multi-purpose room, and the stage area, which is in the front hall. And our lightings, you'll see in the picture on the left, our lights are going to be programmed. They're going to utilize building automation for ambient light. So there's going to be times of the day where our lighting is going to be less of a demand on electric usage and more taking in the ambient lights once all the building automation system is working 100%. And then this is a picture of our playground area in the back of the building. And then we've also, this year, that's the front of the Early Childhood Center. So if you remember the rendering, it kind of, now it's
Real?
that is an actual picture. That's not a rendering. It is a beautiful facility. We also just recently upgraded with the new mascots at each facility. We updated at the foyers. They each have their own entrance logo. And we also, if you didn't see it when you pulled in, We have new wayfinding signs, which is the bottom right picture. And it's not complete yet. It will be complete Tuesday. Hopefully that project will be complete Tuesday with the new marquee signs. We're gonna have a marquee information sign at the front of Old Orchard Junior High, and also a new, more high definition sign at the corner of Grosse Point Road and Kenton.
I can take this.
Perfect.
Great job. I mean, it was a huge success tonight. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony, great turnout, overwhelming feedback. It's amazing to watch. We've all been walking through it for the last several months, so for us, it's, you know, kind of like watching your child grow. It just kind of happens before your eyes. Whereas others walking in, it's been great to see the reaction to it. But appreciate the board's support with that. Ernie's done a great job along with Kenya. I cannot emphasize to you enough how detailed and in the weeds the team is in the most appropriate way. A lot has been thought out and considered and caught and watched for. Even with the heavy rain we've had, Ernie took advantage of it and said probably to himself it's a great opportunity to see if we need any grading in the parking lot, and was able to take photos and puddles that now will lead to improvements that are made while we still have the work in progress. So kudos to the team. It's a huge deal. Kenya's been scrutinizing the budget, you know, questioning whether or not we need too many fridges or one, and doing her job and doing a great job at it, which is super important. That's your role, and I think you've done excellent with it. So team's been great. It's been a labor though. I mean, I mentioned tonight at the event, it's 2 meetings a week. One that we have, and then one that we have to talk about the meeting to figure out what we need to do. So it's been a big lift, but it clearly is worth it. It's such a great space that we're all super excited for. You heard a little bit from Elizabeth Hennessy, and I wanted to give you a little context around the issuance of bonds. So we can still use those bond funds to pay off some of the early childhood project. And that's really intentional. It's one of the reasons we want to pursue that. The other are 2 much smaller projects financially as well as scope of work that was mentioned. One of them is the Devonshire loading zone, or we've been calling it a turnabout. But any of you that have driven through Indiana or London know that that's not really a turnabout. This is really more of a loading zone. So this is a rendering of what could be a potential solution to some of the congestion on Kenneth Avenue. This was something that Principal Ritz and his team have done their best to address, and they have improved. It's definitely gotten better. And I think, though, the one opportunity we have to make it even safer is this loading zone that will also then create 14 parking spaces for staff and possibly visitors that we don't currently have any designated for that space. We do a great job with Devonshire Cultural Center and the Park District on using other parking that is south there near Kenneth where it stops and else. But there's an opportunity there for, I think, just a more welcoming start to the day. Currently, that's the old primary asphalt area that now has more or less been moved to the south with the new playground. We would probably need to reevaluate entry procedures there in the school in terms of doors, et cetera, to make sure it's safe. But it's something that we do want to keep notifying the board about to see whether this is a really good idea and that the time is right. So any questions about this is really high level. We don't have, you know, most of it worked out, but there has been village engagement just to see is it feasible. And honestly, what really sparked the idea was that the curbs are already cut for this project. I don't know exactly why historically, but those 2 areas where you see, you know, a car typically pulling off and in, those are already really there. So this project is much less hung up in some of the challenges that can come with curb cutting and IDOT and village approval, et cetera. But any questions at all about this?
It looks good.
It's early. This is early. If we were to do it, this would be a required summer project. It's too invasive and loud.
Yeah.
It's pretty difficult to take your eye-ready exam when you've got, you know, bulldozer outside. So we would wait till a summer on this one, but we'll bring it back when we know more and when we get a little bit more serious with it. But just wanted you to have just a vision for where our brains are at on it.
there's a quick
Yeah.
question. So I'm not sure about the curbs as to why they're conveniently, at a level that would help facilitate this if it ever, got that far. But this is something that has been a conceptual consideration for many years, just because of the
Yeah.
congestion on Costner in particular. And, several years ago, even building out the lane on Kenneth.
Yep.
So the lane we have now hasn't always been there, just to control that
Yeah,
safety zone.
yeah, that side.
And so, I guess my question is the current secondary asphalt area that would be, is that still being used as a secondary play area, or what is, I haven't been around there during the daytime in a while
Literally
to see.
nothing.
It's just pretty much,
More of a
nothing.
foot traffic space.
Okay, so just crisscrossing,
Mhm.
so there is no use and function of the space right now
No,
to
I
be
mean, I
addressed.
think, things like, field day, things like that, I
Mhm.
mean, it certainly is great to have extra space. But it's not, like I said, there is some lineup procedure work that would need to be reworked as it relates to students.
There wouldn't be any change to particular need that the building has for that space, that even if it's secondary need, that has to be reconfigured. It's really just an opportunity.
Yeah, not necessarily, not that I know of, I don't wanna overspeak if the staff feels differently, but from what we've heard and what we've talked, so Principal Ritz did share this idea with his staff, and they definitely seemed appreciative and excited by it. I mean, the parking alone is a big advantage, I mean, obviously we have more than 14 teachers, but it's just a really nice use of that space. One of the things you're gonna see here that I think plays out really well at Highland is Highland, Stenson, and Devonshire are all U-shaped, but Highland is really the only school where we utilize the interior of that in terms of the playground. There's a nice tree. It almost has a natural kind of welcoming, almost protective nature to it. Whereas Devonshire, obviously they're all secure, but it's just not as cut into the building, if you will. It's designed differently in terms of our entrances.
This has a kind of campus feel that.
Exactly, I think that's what I was trying to say, yeah.
I guess I am all for this, but it really would have to completely change like where people enter
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like obviously for kids who are still late, if that was where the entrance would be, but I just wonder, like where are kids lining up, or I was just thinking of like guest parking, they would then have to walk all the way around the building.
Yeah.
To get to the front entrance.
Yeah, you wouldn't lose parking on Kenneth.
Yeah.
So there would only be one or two spots, maybe a little more than one or two, where those entrance and exits are, which would still have significant parking along it. But what other schools and districts will do is like a cutoff time, that if you come at this time, you've got to come back around to the main office. So definitely more logistics for us to figure out, more involvement for us to take with Devonshire and the staff there, but wanted to at least give you some visual here for what could possibly come out of the issuance of bonds. The other ones, if we're okay with this one, any other questions on Devonshire? Happy to hang on that one. So ESC, the building we're in now, security and building improvements. So just a visual again, high level. It looks pretty similar when you take a quick glance, but if you look closer, there's actually a lot that has changed in this mock-up. First off, starting from the left, the door underneath those three circular lights would be a secure door, so it would be locked using a fob. And the boardroom doors, we spend many a day, about once a month, all day in this room, and everyone walks out realizing they've been in the same room together for a day. So having a little bit of some sunlight there through this room, so having a little bit of visual would help a lot. But more importantly is that door also being secure. And then equally important is the vestibule being built out and walled in so that the front office receptionist space is also secure. And then if you go to the next image, please. There's another one. So then that side door is then also secure. So what happens is the foyer becomes a secure and contained space that right now is, I think an opportunity for us. You'll see the person in the black outfit if they were to go forward, they would walk into one of our colleagues' offices currently on the right. This allows us an opportunity to also build a separate small conference room for parents and family members. So whether or not they're disclosing and sharing private information, or they have a sensitive situation, or they just need to have a quick meeting with a staff member, they can utilize that front conference room. It doesn't mean we would be changing anything in that space, but because of the building improvement side of this, we would need to create a little bit more office space using the existing footprint. So some of the other funds would go towards potentially splitting offices or moving a wall or two. Again, we're not looking at anything too invasive with this. There are possible options for things like restrooms, but the team at this point doesn't know that that's necessarily needed, nor financially maybe the best opportunity. But again, high level, wanted you to see what it could look like. The key piece here is security. We did an audit in 2024. We did have good feedback around something similar to this to have us secure in the building. We've added this in all of our schools, and even did it now with the new location of the ELO Parent Center. They also have a secure vestibule now. So it's a really good opportunity. Don't know the timing on this one. Again, this could potentially be a summer or during school year project, depending on how invasive it is. This particular part of it is not that much work. This is actually a little bit more cosmetic than you think. So just wanted you to see it and have an idea of kind of what it could look like. The other little pieces to this, as a team, we've talked about this boardroom and how to create a little bit more space. So removing things like cabinetry to allow a back row. There's actually a closet behind those new strategic plan items that could be kicked out and would open the space a little bit more. We use this for PD, but we really don't have any conference rooms in the space. So if the room is being used by a group of staff and a team wants to meet, they have to use someone's office. So trying to come up with potentially a creative conference room space so that team members can collaborate more. We have the kitchen, which is great, but again, it's not as private. We don't have a screen, etc. If you want to, accomplish something related to an agenda, it's not the best space for it. So again, these are all great opportunities down the road. We just wanted you to see it, to consider it as we think about the issuance of bonds and what it could look like. Any questions about this one? Oh, sorry, you had one more slide. Apologies.
No, you're good.
Any on the ESC?
I had a question about the geothermal.
Yes.
So now that it's been a full year in practice, are you able to assess like how much was saved from the prior year to this year?
So I just reached out to our utility consultant, Becky.
Okay,
I
right.
just reached out to her yesterday.
Cool.
So we are in the process of getting all that information together.
Awesome.
And we will be happy to report back to the board.
Yay.
So last but certainly not least, the district goes through a 10-year health, life, safety audit. It's done by an architectural firm. It's a very detailed list of things that need to be done in our facilities. It's a rating scale, ABC 1, 2, 3. But anyways, it's on a rating scale. The ones or the A's are things that need to be done within the first 5 years. I'm happy to report that all of our ones or the level A have been completed. So we are on the path of full compliance. The other ones are more like cosmetic things that they've seen, like an outlet cover that was loose, that are things that have already been taken care of, but that's not necessarily a health, life, safety violation or just more detail-oriented things. That's all I've got. And, last but certainly not least would be the team. But,
Absolutely.
we have an amazing team.
Is that a new picture? Or the same?
It was a picture from last year.
Okay.
With everything going on at the ECC. But yes, it's a recent picture.
They are amazing. I mean, they've done such a great job. I mean, just to give you an idea, even like picking out selected plants for the ECC, if you notice those really nice pieces, that was one of the team members' work. Jello, who just did a great job, great aesthetics. They're always smiling, incredibly happy. I was talking to one of our team members this evening, and they said, I love what I'm doing. It's fun. I said, fun? That's awesome. So kudos to you and the team as well. Appreciate it. Great
And
job.
for making it sustainable outside. I
Yeah,
learned about the riverbed thing.
oh yeah, yeah, done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thanks for sticking around, feel
Yes.
free to head out.
Thanks, Ernie. Right.
Where are we?
We've got
Oh, you're up.
board policies, yes, so first reading, so, they are important topics, student assignment, inter-district transfer, teen dating violence prohibited, misconduct by students with disabilities, conduct code for participants in extracurriculars, an exemption from physical education, but there is nothing significant in any. In fact, most of it is a change in language or removing a word and replacing it with another. So no major changes for us at all. We're just trying to keep up with the press policies as they come. We have a new batch coming soon, so just want to make sure we're keeping our board book really up to date, and it looks great. So Riley's doing an excellent job with it. Searchable online now, big change for us, so very helpful. That's it on policy.
The next item of business is the approval of the food service breakfast and lunch fees for 26-27. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the 2026-2027 meal pricing as presented.
Second.
All right, I'll hand this over to Kenya. Before doing so, I just want to say thank you for researching in. You know, last year we added kosher and halal options and are definitely in a state of review. I'll let Kenya share a little bit more, just at a high level, about some of the opportunities we have to reclaim some fees as it relates to our student lunches and breakfasts. Kenya, all yours.
All right, so, we did increase our lunch by 10 cents last year. But I wanna also note that in 2025-26 school year, we have 65% of our families qualify for free. We have 12% qualify for free and reduced, which is very above average of the state requirement. And I wanna also note the revenue that we pulling in for the food service program is like roughly 853,000. But our expenditures are roughly 937,000, which we do not have a positive fund balance currently in the state standards for a meal program. And we also have roughly $37,000 in fees balances that students still owe between 2005 school year and 2006 school year. So we need to work on those things to try and get us back on track with those, with the money that we're receiving from the state. So I would recommend us staying level as what we presented last year as far as food, but also having an opportunity to look into the free for all program and see if we can qualify for that. But I also need to make sure the food that we provide in that program is sufficient for the students that we have here in the district. That would not hinder us to have to go to a real standard, strict, balanced plan for the state side of it. So I wanna look into that more before I bring that as a recommendation to the board for the program. But I would like for us to move forward with the proposed fees and continue to do what we've done last year.
To what extent did our changes in menus account for the difference in what was budgeted and what's the actual expenditures?
That was small because remember we didn't increase the halal and kosher, it didn't increase the prices, they was giving that for us at the same cost.
And that won't change in this next year?
Right,
That
so
agreement?
that would be the same thing we do, but we may have to pay for it, I have to negotiate that with the vendor to see if they would let it still stay stagnant the same as what we did this year.
That's not for sure.
It's not for sure because I haven't worked out the menu, the better options we may have to do and result in that. And then I may have to talk to the state, maybe I can get some more funding for halal and kosher, cause they do have an application for that. And we need to just apply for it and see what options we can get and then fund that as well. So it's a couple of scenario things, they do have an option, the state is aware of that. People are doing that in their programs now, and I have to apply to
Do
get
we
that funding.
qualify based on your first flush for the funds based on the application?
Yeah, it doesn't have a financial requirement to it. I think it might be based on our population and the need. So once I apply and if I get approved for it, then that may increase our funding on the state side. And I'm hoping that too. And if not, I can also do the other route because we're up for our negotiation of doing our bid spec over again. And then I can put all of the things that make me want into the new bid spec.
So we have a couple different pathways. Okay.
And we can't, because the option this year, which was limited as a kind of see how things go, but it actually wasn't kosher enough for the people who need kosher food. So we can't actually analyze if it was used, right?
Well, we can see who did eat the food, because they do keep counts of every student who took the meals. So we do have numbers of who ate what.
Okay.
But as you say, we had other options where some people wanted something more.
Yeah.
And
And the options were limited, unfortunately,
Right.
in terms of provider.
yeah, some of the providers and the cost for something
Yeah,
more
like
was
the buns and
much
stuff, yeah.
much more expensive.
But I want to emphasize too, I know we already said it, but the offering of halal and kosher options are not why we have an uncollected fee balance. That's just an opportunity for us.
I know those are two very different
Yeah.
things.
The cost didn't go up, it's just an opportunity for us to just continue to pursue. And there's actually a lot of overlap between some of the things we talked about with strategic plans. So how are we communicating? Are we notifying families? I may have been guilty in the last year myself as a parent of having an outstanding balance here and there on chocolate milk fees, things I didn't know about. So making sure that we communicate clearly with parents and give them the opportunity to pay off those fees if
And
they
the
need
fees
to.
go up every year for the cost of food too.
Yeah.
So that's also playing a good part. That's been going up gradually every year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I admitted to Scott, I owed $800 this summer, so.
You
I
don't
paid
have
it.
to disclose that, it's okay.
It's one of your 1,000.
Okay.
We're pursuing that.
I already paid it.
But we'll bring anything we decide, anything Kenya finds with this to the board. This is a board level decision in terms of any switches or changes in programming, but I think it's a worthy item to just keep exploring. So, thank you.
Rock,
Yes.
Sturbins,
Yes.
Warshaw,
Yes.
Bill Jordan,
Yes.
Glickman.
Okay, if there is no further business to come before the board, I call for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Second.
Wait, who did first?
Journey did louder, Jeff did first.
Jeff did first.
volume.
Okay, Sturbins,
Not Colin.
Yes.
Warshaw,
Yes.
Bill Jordan,
Yes.
Glickman,
Yes.
Rock.
Yes.